My name is Shannon Carmen. I am from Victoria, BC, and I am an undecided voter because the environment is a massive priority for me, and I'm not convinced that any of our leaders are strong enough to make the big changes I feel are necessary.
My name is Ruth Altaya. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, and I am an undecided voter because I care way too much about economic inequality and don't think that any of the federal leaders have done enough to speak on this issue.
My name is Lisa Liu. I'm from Calgary, Alberta. I am an undecided voter in this year's federal election. I would like to learn more about each leader's plan to battle climate change.
My name is Ryan Duick. I'm from Winnipeg, and I'm undecided because I want to hear what the candidates' plans around healthcare are.
All right, so here they are. Hey there, everybody. Shannon, Lisa, let me guess, we got Ruth and we got Ryan. Thank you for sticking with us tonight. So I know you all voted in 2019. You were able to make the call then. This time, though, it's still a little rough. You're a bit uncertain. You're looking for leadership. So in 15-ish seconds each, can you give us a sense of what's either struck you as a high point or a low point of this debate? Shannon, let's start with you.
The Bloc Québécois leader needed to hear a French word in English, and he listened to Trudeau, and it was like this beautiful moment of sort of compatriots talking with each other. I would love to see more of that in the future.
Okay, interesting. Lisa.
What struck me as a high point was actually the Green Party leader's suggestion for a cross-party climate action task force, which I think is a wonderful idea of, multi-partisanship.
Okay. Ruth?
Mine is actually going to be the flip of the high points and actually say that there was such a hyper-partisanship that Annamie Paul was talking about that was taking place on stage, people interrupting each other, and it could have been a lot more calm and collective.
Yeah, well, certainly my heart was pounding trying to catch up with all of it. I suspect some popcorn was thrown at the screen at times. Ryan, what about for you? A high point or a low point?
I guess it was a low point, more of a missed opportunity type point, and talking about affordable housing, and there was really no mention of like an unhoused experience of unhoused people.
Right. So hey guys, can we go through maybe issue by issue on a few counts? And speaking of popcorn throwing against the screen, I think it was during the climate change part of the debate. There are a lot of fingers being pointed, a lot of fists in the air among you guys. Shannon, maybe I could start with you. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you voted Green in the last election, right? And so I'm wondering, from your take on this, I mean, did you see something from any of the leaders, but including Annamie Paul, on energy or carbon targets, green energy? What did you hear that you liked?
Well, yeah, I mean, I love the fact that the environment was such a massive part of it. It was the first thing that they talked about compared to previous years. I love that Annamie Paul was talking about how essential nonpartisan approaches are, coming at it like COVID. But I didn't like how it was almost considered a separate issue from housing or inequality, because all of these issues are connected. They're talking about how society functions and how we need to change how society functions on a fundamental level. But big change can only come with agreement, and all I see is a huge crisis of agreement between all of these people. And with so many narratives swirling around, I wanted to hear a story, a really inspiring vision from one of our candidates tonight, and I just didn't see that. I wanted to see Churchill levels of inspiration, about how England changed its entire economy within a few months during the war. We need to start thinking like that. We can't just keep going on with business as usual. I felt like Annamie Paul was the only one who really conveyed that urgency to me.
Okay, so on your frustration, I think a lot of people feel frustration at this point in the election. I'm curious about you, Lisa, because you mentioned climate in your first go around there. And I know, living in Calgary, you had the smoky skies, the summer. I know that energy is also really important to you. You voted Conservative in 2019. So when you heard Erin O'Toole tonight, what did you make of what he had to say about climate change?
So my main takeaway, I think, between 2019 and now is seeing all of the physical weather pattern changes. I think I'm getting more of a sense of the urgency of climate change. So the issue has definitely become more important in my mind. And I guess I don't feel like I heard from any of the leaders in all of their climate policies how they want to support the energy industry to transition away from fossil fuels into a more renewable future. Because I do believe that Calgary and Alberta and the oil and gas and the energy industry have a big role to play in our future energy transition.
Ryan, you voted Liberal in 2019. You talked about affordability being one of your top issues. I know pharmacare also another big one. We heard a great question from Rosie during that debate on that matter. What did you hear on that front? Was it enough to change your decision or to inform it even?
I think especially on like pharmacare, there wasn't much. There was a lot of fighting back and forth about who did what and who plans what, but no one seemed to have any sort of plan to kind of sway me. I guess the fact that the NDP tried to introduce it at some point during the last 2 years and it was voted down, that kind of sways me in a direction or two, but that question wasn't answered for me.
I see you nodding a little bit there, Ruth. What I know about you is that you're the person in the friend group who sends out the cheat sheets to everybody politically to say, all right, guys, this is what I heard, right? There they are. So I'm wondering,
I took notes.
what is in those cheat sheets for tomorrow about what you heard in terms of affordability, but how much it costs to live in this country, especially for people in marginalized communities?
I'm very sad and disappointed that I didn't hear much. Just like my fellow undecided voters here, there's just been this continuous conversation about what the past administration hasn't done enough of, or what one person needs to do, or what the other needs to do. And I didn't think that the parties actually highlighted what they were going to do about the issues, what they were going to do for marginalized communities. It could have been a great opportunity for Justin Trudeau to bring up the $200 million endowment fund for the Black community that the Liberal budget was talking about recently, and he didn't do that, you know? I was expecting a lot more. So not much gotten from this debate, just a little bit of inner fighting, but hopefully I get to do some more research and see what I can give to my friends.
Well, so maybe this is the point that we ought to end on, right? Because we heard from the At Issue panel that one of their big criticisms of this debate was the very one that you folks are raising here, that it wasn't easy to get substance out of it. So maybe if we can kind of go down the line here. I mean, I see you all shaking your heads, or nodding your heads rather, but are you any closer to moving out of that undecided camp and into a zone where you can kind of confidently make a decision? Shannon, maybe we can start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I felt the same as everybody else. I wished that I could have seen some of them saying, hey, here, you guys did this, you know, the Liberals did this. I liked how you did that for childcare. I would do it this way for this reason. You know, like that constructive criticism rather than just this gotcha stuff. It just seems so childish. So I mean, I would really love to just see them getting together to talk like adults. I don't know which one. I don't think I got anything from this other than the Green Party leader, I feel, is the strongest and her party is in the worst.
Okay, and just like the debate, we have 5 seconds left for everybody. Still undecided or getting closer? Start with you, Lisa.
Still undecided. My only takeaway from the evening was it was a lot of fun to watch the debate with the rest of this panel.
Okay, very quickly. Ruth?
Still undecided, moving towards probably one. I'm moving a little bit, but still a little bit undecided, yeah.
Yes or no? Undecided, Ryan?
A little undecided, but I've moved a little bit towards an answer.
All right. Shannon, Lisa, Ruth, Ryan, pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.